Right.
Growing up with like an older brother, like I was very used to getting punched in the face.
Welcome back to Show Me and Yours with Jackie and Jonny, everybody.
I'm Jackie.
I'm Jonny. Today we have the wonderful privilege of bringing on our first-ish guest. The first one that you're going to probably, first one that we're going to release to you. Sorry, Kevin, that we kept you waiting, but yours will be coming out very shortly. Today we're going to switch it up. We're going to get into the living room and have a nice little change of pace for you guys.
Open it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
You couldn't possibly fit a third person in here.
We could barely fit the two of us.
Yeah. We're squeezed in pretty tight here.
But we have a legitimate guest, writer director. That's gonna be very exciting and a wild. Well, I mean, an intensely deep and personal record.
An intensely somber record.
It was a lot of fun. It was definitely a challenge for me, but we'll get into all of that later because something that we need to get to first is probably one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen. There's a few, instances that I will just be immediately captivated from the moment that I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I've read this article and I needed to know more.
Yeah.
There's been a baby born with 3 dicks, Jackie.
Yeah, in Iraq.
What a wonderful... They said that 2021 wasn't going to bring, anything better. 2020 was so rough. Like, we're coming out of the ashes right now, and we have something as wonderful as a 3-dick dude.
Yeah, 3-dick baby.
3-dick baby. I mean, how exciting is that for the parents?
Well, I mean, I think it caused some concern at first. The thing, we're going to get into this, but the thing that really jumped out to me in the article is that...
The 3rd dick.
It was literally just hit me in the face. But was the fact that they discovered these 2 extra penises 2 months after the baby was born.
That is wild. It's absolutely incredible, and it makes it a little bit...
Or 3 months. 3 months.
See, this is where the story does get a little bit tragic, because do you remember in 2015 when Double Dick Dude hit the scene?
No.
You don't know anything about Double Dick Dude?
Well, I don't remember. Refresh my memory.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our listeners as well, Double Dick Dude was this person that got popular on Reddit during like an Ask Me Anything kind of situation.
Oh, okay.
So he basically posted a picture of his 2 functional cocks that are both like 10 inches long.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow.
Right? So obviously the internet was like, completely blew up. The AMA document that you could just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling goes on for days. And this guy really thoughtfully answered every single one of these questions to the best of his abilities based on like, kind of what is like mating practices and all the way to like the wildest shit that he's ever done. And there was one part of this that he detailed, I think it was like a 5-some, where he was sitting on 2 dicks, but like from 2 different people. Because he doesn't know a double dick dude as well, right? So double dick dude is sitting on 2 dicks while there's 2 girls on each of his penises.
Oh my God.
Making a 5. And then I think he was like licking balls or something at the same time too.
Oh my God.
Incredible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fascinated and I left and I was sitting at a bar and I was talking to a friend of mine who was a bartender and I'm explaining this to him and just utter fascination. You can see my eyes are just glazed over like I don't know what I've just seen or... My imagination is just running wild, right? This is fucking insane. Because you wouldn't... And another thing, too, is for anybody wondering, Double Dick Dude, it's not like an on top and bottom kind of situation. They kind of break off like handlebars.
That's how I was imagining, yeah.
Which...
like a lizard tongue.
Precisely. But like split at the base and going 10 inches of dick in each direction.
God.
Wild, right? So I think that's what's fortunate about Triple Dick Baby is that he's not going to have like the functionality, I think, because I believe the 3rd penis was located under his balls.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
There was some trouble with the extra 2 penises, which is why I think they ultimately decide to chop them off. But
And we're starting to GoFundMe for justice for the other two penises.
I mean, I don't know. He
no, we're
might
not
be
gonna do that?
pleased about it.
Oh, okay.
Imagine
I guess we should
growing
ask
up
the
in-
baby.
Yeah, we should wait for him to grow up a bit, and then we'll have him on.
Fair enough.
But-
open invitation anytime to triple dick baby. Or single dick dude, I guess he would be now.
So this supernumerary penises is what this is referred to in general.
Supernumerary?
Supernumerary.
There's only one or two or three, right? Like, is it nobody
Super.
ever... It's like a coat of arms kind of situation here.
Yeah. And
Anyway.
this was first seen in 1609. And I want to know what happened to that poor child, because healthcare was not where it is now.
What are you talking about,
in
healthcare? I think what happened to that
1609.
child is fame and fortune.
But like, what if it? Because the thing is, when this happens, this is the first case they've seen with 3 penises, but they have had double dicks before. And
Apparently 1 in 5 or to 6 million people or something have a double dick. Like, there's more of these things going around. There's 100 cases documented or something like that in medical journals, which is fascinating.
But it's usually accompanied by other health problems. Like there was
Oh,
a
really?
one guy one baby was born in Russia with 2 penises, a 3rd leg, and no anus. And so it's usually like a handful of things that have gone wrong.
Is there like radiation involved, or is there...
I don't know. Well, they were saying for this the three dick baby, triphallia is what they're
That's
calling,
great.
which
That's
is
a fucking,
great.
that's the name of our new band
Yeah.
for sure. We're looking for a 3rd member of Triphallia. We're throwing that out there. And maybe somebody that can play an instrument. You know,
But
we'll throw
it
that out
says that the doctor looked into whether the fetus was exposed to alcohol or drugs, and it wasn't. So I don't know what that investigation entailed.
I know
but I have
so
some
many
questions.
babies that were born on drugs and alcohol, and we're all fine. Like, it's not, I didn't get another dick from it.
Obviously, it doesn't. Fetal alcohol syndrome doesn't cause 2 dicks, but it's a good
But it
place
doesn't
to
hurt.
start. Yeah.
Oh my god, this is so wild. Do you think that he's gonna as the baby, as he grows up, like there's a whole movement of people that have their foreskin removed that want it back?
Right.
There's even like techniques that people have to like kind of stretch their penis skin or whatever to like recreate a
Right,
foreskin or whatever.
yeah.
It's horrific and it
It
looks
is.
really fucked up.
Yeah.
But there are people that kind of want to, take that power back, right? Like, as
Mm-hmm.
a, you didn't consent to, losing a piece of your penis or whatever at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I wonder if like they just got like that movement now has like the poster child.
Right.
Like, not only did you take his foreskin, you took 2 of his dicks.
Well, I feel like it's a little bit different.
And are they
because-
even dicks because there's no urethra?
Well, exactly, and only
Oh, man.
one of them had an actual like head. Like it wasn't. It was more like
one
two,
of the 3
two-
or one that they removed?
I don't know if it was one of the. I think it was one of the 3, or maybe it was one of the 2 that they removed.
Do you
but
think
they
the doctor
weren't
let
functioning.
the parents pick?
They-
Like, which
yeah,
one do you want?
Pick your favorite. Pick the best one.
I don't know. I'd be like, hey, doc, you between you and me, like, not for nothing, we're keeping that one.
Yeah. But I think the way I interpreted the article is that these were more like 2 stumps. And then like in month 3, they were like, we should probably get this checked out, these 2 stumps. And it turned out they were penises. So they clearly weren't like, they didn't look like dicks.
Oh. Well, now this is kind of unfortunate.
Right?
Okay.
And so that I think
you turned me around on this whole thing. Like, I was approaching
I feel
this
like
with-
they probably did the right thing. I have a lot of questions though. How could this only have been discovered in month 3? In the article it says the boy was 3 months old when it was discovered he had 3 penises, and it's not clear why it hadn't been discovered at his birth.
I mean, assuming like maybe they're just like a sexually repressed kind of people or whatever, right? So like if we're gonna change some
They just
diapers, I'm
didn't
not
look
looking down there. Yeah, like I'm just gonna do one of these,
Yeah.
and then like they just stumbled across
Maybe
like
they,
maybe a
like,
pinky
didn't-
hit a 3rd dick or something.
Because it
like
did
that.
say too, because so like we said, this baby was born in Iraq, which it's more of a conservative culture there.
I think the people of the world are familiar with Iraq,
And,
Jackie.
well, I'm just setting the scene, and I'm world building.
The world's already been built, Jackie. Let's go.
I'm building Iraq up from the rubble.
Careful. Careful.
And, but in the article it said that they're gonna have to keep monitoring this boy for health problems, and it said that they're gonna have to go back and, you know, reevaluate things once he hits puberty and then again once he's married.
So do you think now that did the parents tell the kids, like, you were a medical marvel, but, you know, but we had to do something about it? So, and if you don't tell him, then why does this guy, like, is he just going to assume that everybody has doctors just regularly looking at his piece? Like,
I
maybe
feel like they will,
once
once he hits puberty, they'll have to tell him. But who knows? I don't know the family. If it was my kid, I would certainly...
I would be like, son, you are a medical marvel, and this is why your mother's not around anymore.
Yeah.
You're asking where mom is? She took the greatest gift, 2 of the greatest gifts God ever gave you away. I wouldn't feel that passionate about it, but... well, I mean, at least the kid's healthy, right? I think that's the takeaway. It sounds
like he's otherwise, you know, it sounds like he's doing good. And that was like sort of the anomalies that since normally supernumerary penises are accompanied by other health issues, as I was saying, but this particular baby seems to be otherwise healthy.
So he's an anomaly within an anomaly.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
He's a super anomaly.
And with super multi-penis. What's the
supernumerary?
Supernumerary. Triphallia.
Yeah, triphallia is
like
my favorite word of the day.
Triphallia is like the opening for vaginal dentata on tour when COVID is over. But, I'm really looking forward to that show. Mm-hmm. Do you know what they did with the penises?
I don't know. I mean,
like, do you give them for medical research? Do you give them back? Like, a dentist won't let you take your molars home, which is stupid. Some dentists will, but
I would assume that they probably held on to it for research purposes.
Do you think there was? I read an article the other day about a war doctor, army veteran from Vietnam, who took a severed arm home as a fucking souvenir, and he returned the skeleton arm back to its owner. And they're both smiling and they're like, hey, you know, crazy times. It's the weirdest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. But, like, I mean, but if I'm the guy, I'm taking my arm and smacking the shit out of him with it. But
right? I'd be like, what the fuck have you been doing with it this whole time?
How do you take an arm home, man?
Yeah.
Like, that's, I don't know.
You can't travel with an arm.
I don't know. I don't know how it happened or why, but, you know, it's one of those things that, like, you're in your old age and you're looking back on all your possessions and you're thinking, like, maybe there's something that I just haven't done yet, you know? Mm-hmm. Maybe I need to reach out and really get some closure here. Yeah, grab this opportunity to do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know? I think that is it's commendable, but also you're a guy that left Vietnam with a fucking arm in your suitcase. So there's
I have some
I got a lot
some
of
qualms.
Yeah, absolutely. So no to Vietnam Army doctor veteran people that coming home with other people's body parts.
Yeah.
Yes to maybe removing 2 penises in a medical situation.
For medical reasons.
I'm not going to lie to you. I wanted to debate this topic, but I think that I think you got me there.
I'm glad.
Well, Jesus. But for the sake of comedy and conflict, fuck you, fuck the mom. That dad is leaving right now, and he's
taking the 2 extra penises with him.
They're gonna prop up the front porch and
doorstop.
Absolutely, yeah. We're gonna start a new life together. You and me and 3 peens.
That's Triphallia's first hit single. You, me, and 3 peens.
I think that, like, if you would be the coolest kid on the playground, right? Like, had you kept the 3 dicks, like, do you think you would have become, like, a bully or, like, extra confident or something like that?
I think you'd be the weirdo carrying around your 2 extra penises in your pocket.
Do you think so? I don't know. Yeah. I think he would use that to his advantage.
I think, like, in like elementary school years, I think you would be ostracized for that.
If you could pee out of all 3 of them, I think you'd be cooler.
Well, yeah, if they were all, like, attached to your body.
Yeah, then they'd be like, man, Jerry's crazy. Jerry's been peeing in all different directions for years now.
Yeah.
But I wonder which one is the operable one. Like, if the operating one. Like, so if they find out that the only penis with the urethra is actually the one under the balls, that's weird.
That would be unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I feel like
he's just always tucked back, though.
That's true.
Right? So depending on what life decision he wants to make, you know, later.
Yeah.
Later in life, he's probably...
That's true. He's
better equipped, even in some situations.
Yeah, you never know. This could be a blessing in disguise.
I bet there's a whole sect of people that would prefer their penis to be on the bottom of their balls.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that would prefer their penis
We're looking
to
for
be
your
under
feedback.
their balls.
I mean, send in. Yeah. Do you think that
you
a penis would look better
underball
on the underball dick? Yeah. Well, right now I'm an under. No, I'm an overball dicker right now. But I'm open to the idea of going under.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in like Australia, like toilets like flush like spin the opposite way when they flush or whatever. Maybe their penises are actually on the bottom of them too.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And then every penis is infinitely funnier because like the balls make like a droopy eye like over top of the
Well,
nose.
that's what I was
hilarious.
thinking is that if you had an underball penis, when it's erect, would it like what way would it then go? Like would it shoot out and then the balls kind of just like pop up there, or would it go backwards the other way?
Well, it depends if you got like some big swinging clackers or whatever. Then I think that it would just like pierce and they would just drape over, kind of like a druid's druid's robe or something. You know what I mean? But if it was like a different situation where like you don't have a lot of ball meat, then it like your balls kind of like shrivel up a little bit, so it would kind of be like a dick with like a brain on top.
Ooh.
You know what I mean, right? This is the balls just stay like nice and tight.
The pinky and the brain.
Unbelievable. Underball dickers might have been the initial inspiration for Pinky and the Brain. That's you heard it here first, people.
We're breaking ground here.
Oh my god. You know, it's like just mortifying that this is the intro for such a serious album. I just
gonna
realized
be so upset.
Yeah, we apologize for that. And I mean, without further ado, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Bang. Welcome back, everybody. We have a change of location because we are blessed with a guest, the immensely talented writer, director, producer, tennis enthusiast, a man that wears many hats, but he has no need for them because he has a delightful head of hair. Mazi Khalighi, everybody. Welcome for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I refuse to talk about a classy album like Tracy Chapman in the irregular setup that you guys have. I felt like we need to class it up a little.
100%.
That's fair. That's fair.
Who we're talking about.
I mean, our intro already desecrated this album. So.
It's a hard thing to kind of merge
I haven't seen this intro, so I'm not affiliated with the intro.
You're gonna see it. And we didn't try to make any connection there with just like some news from Iraq that came out today with a young boy born with 3 penises. Yeah. That
You told me that 3, not 2.
Not 3. Yeah. And
triphallia.
That's the name of our new band. But it's actually one of the most interesting things about the story actually is that it wasn't like a tripod, you know what I mean, or like all up and down. How would you picture somebody having 3 penises?
I can't. I don't.
If you had to, okay. Well, basically, what happened with this
in
board
a row, or like up and down, or
like
maybe one's like a little one,
spear?
and like the other ones are like different sizes and shapes and stuff.
That's kind of unfortunately what happened with this kid. They actually removed 2 of them because there was no urethras actually going through the other nubs of penis.
Yeah,
but the third one was actually coming out at the bottom of the balls. So that's that we get all into that in the intro. So. I mean,
are they still considered penises if there's no urethra running through? If it can't pee, is it a pee?
That's a fantastic question.
This is we dive into
we
this.
Have to call the authorities.
Yeah, we absolutely do. You know what? And I mean, now we're probably going to have to include guests into our intros because.
How old was this kid when they removed the other 2
He
penises?
was 3 months old when they discovered the other 2 penises.
Which is wild in itself.
And it's unclear why they weren't discovered at birth.
Huh. Well, maybe they kind of grew a little as like the days went on, or
That's
something,
what it seems like. They were more stubs than penises.
If those penises were growing from nothing to visible in 3 months, imagine the growth that they would have had.
The potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Did you guys discuss this in the opening? The potential growth.
Yeah.
Well, we actually kind of discussed like the implications here of what life would be like. There's a huge sect of people that have their.
Sit cross-legged?
Let's make yourself at home, man.
Is it like not?
Make yourself at home because you are.
Because this is much more comfortable.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you guys.
Like hold my drink and stuff.
Cool.
Exactly.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways.
Yeah. No problem. Well, I mean, not to bore you with too many details, they did end up, removing the penises.
I'm not bored.
And
the 3 penis article or whatever. Not bored yet.
Well, it's just kind of fascinating because there's an entire subsect of people that have had their foreskin removed and they're, trying to do things to even like grow their foreskin back or make circumcision illegal and stuff because you're not consenting to have a piece of your penis removed, right?
Yeah,
now they have a poster child
on its own.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? But now those people have a top. It's like you think you're missing your foreskin is bad. They took 2 of my dicks. So.
But I feel like they were removed for medical reasons. Like they did it for his well-being because they weren't going to be fully functioning penises.
Yeah, I don't want a dick if it
underballer.
can't work, right?
Yeah, me either. And like I'm circumcised and I don't want foreskin. Like maybe it's because I'm just attached to my dick.
Yeah.
Literally, and also,
I think whatever you have, you don't want to change it at this point.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like whoever cut me did a decent job. It looks kind of cool. It doesn't. Yeah.
I actually got
I'll take
circumcised late. I remember some of my earliest memories are of getting circumcised. It's fuck. I give my parents shit about it. Like, why'd you wait so long?
How old were you?
It's like 3.5 or something.
Oh, well,
Some of my earliest memories. Like one of my earliest memories is standing in front of the toilet in the middle of the night, going up to take a pee, and like a drop of blood like drops in the like the toilet bowl, and I remember the water kind of turning kind of reddish or whatever, and all I remember is just like screaming, crying, my mom running for me, picking me up, like asked her about it after. She's like, it was just like a little drip, like, but my little 3-year-old brain like lost its shit. You know?
Well, man, that's.
And I remember
insane.
being in like the waiting room after, like my parents laughed, dude. I was screaming, I de lamb, I do lamb, I de lamb, I do lamb, and that means my stomach, my dick, I was feeling nauseous, I guess. So I was like crying, I de lamb, I do lamb. Any Persian people will understand this.
We have a huge Persian following.
Yeah.
Anyway, despite the fact that I have like traumatic memories, I'm still glad that I was circumcised.
I know a guy who got circumcised when he was like 21.
Yeah,
it's definitely a thing. Because it can cause some problems.
Yeah.
A friend of mine.
Maintenance isn't proper. Also, like maybe it's not even maintenance. It's just like I don't know what it is.
I don't know
issues.
what
issues can arise.
There are. A friend of mine in
I
high
don't
school.
mean to say your friend like was like dirty or whatever.
Well, I mean, mine absolutely was. A friend of mine, and do you know who you are? He basically. I think his dick just outgrew the foreskin, so basically, which isn't a bad problem to have. You know, he's got a little bit of girth on him, so that's great. But apparently, when he was getting as it would grow, the foreskin head or something would like kind of tear, right? So that he had to end up getting circumcision. I think at like 19 or something. Like we were in high school, and this poor son of a bitch, like we knew it had happened. He made the wrong decision and told his friends, and like. There's so many complications that can come from it because if you get hard, it'll rip stitches and stuff, and you could have to go back in there again. So the recovery is. So
you can't get excited while you're in recovery.
Yeah, and try telling that to a 19-year-old kid. That poor. Oh man, that was, he had a rough go with that, but I mean, still funny to this day to me.
Yeah.
I got lucky and just got it done. You know, my parents are efficient, right?
When you were.
Yeah, I have no memories of it at all. Yeah, well, I mean, I watch the video once a year, but other than that, like, I don't remember it myself.
All right. Well,
shall we?
On that
continue?
note.
Yeah, but
on that note, the reason that we brought you here today, Mazi, the whole point of the show, Show Me Yours. Can you tell us a record that you brought in for us today?
Yeah, we're gonna discuss Tracy Chapman's self-titled debut because I'm a classy motherfucker and I bring classy shit.
I gotta say thank you.
Classing up the joint a bit here.
Literally, yeah. I gotta say thank you. This isn't a record that I would go out on my own to listen to, but after the recommendation and after the couple days of having listened to it, I gotta thank you for kind of bringing it into my life. It was something that I didn't know that I would enjoy as much as I did.
You're very welcome. Yeah. I think it's one of those records where if you listen to it and you don't like it, what's wrong with you? Like, what happened to you? Like, what happened to you?
Yeah, you're perfectly
because it's like sad and beautiful, and it's just like acoustic and simple, and her voice is like you don't like who can like say anything negative about
it's
it?
Undeniable.
Yeah.
I mean, so for anybody looking to pick up this album, this is the self-titled debut from singer-songwriter Tracy Chapman, released April 5th, 1988 on Elektra Records. Recorded over the span of 8 weeks in Hollywood, California.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it was produced by a fellow named David Kirschenbaum, and I found this to be really interesting because he was one of the only producers with Elektra Records that would take this on. They had a bunch of other people turn down the opportunity to work with Tracy Chapman.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do an acoustic record, I guess, and was like, oh, okay, I'll work with
Isn't
you.
that always how it works? Like,
Yeah.
nobody believed in them, and then the one guy that did.
Yeah.
And
And
then
Well,
he went
it's,
on to help her record what would become one of the best-selling records of all time. This thing, I've done the research on this. It's gone platinum everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, it's
6 times in the
international,
States
man.
alone,
Yeah.
and all over the world. Everywhere that the record was released, it charted #1. Like, it's
it's
insane.
undeniable.
And it's like it's an interesting story with how this got made too. So she was a student at Tufts University.
Yeah, in like Massachusetts or Boston or something, or
Boston, I think, is
Yeah.
Tufts. She was performing at a coffee house, and then a fellow student saw her perform, and his dad owned a
recording studio.
no,
or
it wasn't a
label or-
recording
publishing
studio. A publishing label.
Yeah.
And he basically said, "Oh, my dad owns this publishing label, and I can help you make a record." And she didn't really take it seriously.
Yeah, she kind of brushed it off.
But
right?
he was such a fan. And she had recorded these demos through at a radio station, and he copied one and gave it to his dad. And then his dad loved it so much that he flew out to see her, and that basically led to her signing with Elektra. And then she started writing for this album pretty much right away.
Imagine
Yeah.
having a copy
Yeah.
of that tape. Do you know what I mean? Just that
Yeah,
undeniably amazing. Probably, I wonder what song it would have been, or what would those demos would have been. Like, that's so cool.
super
so-
cool.
It
Yeah,
was
Imagine
talking
those
about a
other, like, 9 other
revolution.
producers that they
It was
asked
talking
to
about a
go through.
revolution. That was the demo.
And everybody.
Oh, yeah?
turned it.
Yeah.
yeah. She was like it's protest music. A lot of it, right? Like she
Yeah.
was singing. She was like an angsty, young,
Mm-hmm.
black, woke. Before woke was a thing,
Yeah.
kind of feminist before it was like super popular, I guess. And
Yeah.
that time, I guess in the 60s, they had their run,
Yeah,
and then,
sure. Right? But I mean,
and then
you
they
know,
kind of, like these things
and then
come
the
in
man
waves,
put their foot
right?
back on the
Yeah.
neck of the woman again, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then, you know, it's like fashion. You know, women just rise up, and it's cyclical. You know?
Yeah, it seems that way, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But,
They're
yeah.
having another run
But,
now.
Yeah, they're going on a nice run.
taking
I'm there
a
for it.
nice
I'm here
run,
for it.
A nice
Damn
jog,
right.
a nice jaunt. But sort of on that note, so this album comes out the end of the 80s. And so,
Yeah. Same year I arrived in Canada, actually.
oh, well, there you go.
Very
I
cool.
wasn't born yet.
Yeah, this record's 2 years older than me.
And so at the time, obviously, 80s music, it was like heavy synth, like 80s hair
Yeah.
metal, stuff like that. And so then this album came out, and it sort of was like a rallying cry for all of these people who felt their voices weren't being heard, or they weren't hearing their perspectives in music and stuff. So this became a huge album because of that. And I'm wondering,
All
do
the
you...
people in the unemployment line.
Yeah, exactly.
We had the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Totally.
But do you feel like nowadays, like it's still possible to have a like one singular record that people rally around in the same way because we're so oversaturated with music and content?
Yeah. No, I think so. It's kind of like going viral. Like she went viral before you could go viral.
Right.
And going viral is still a thing. So there's no reason for me not to think that a spark can ignite a huge flame again in some way, shape, or form with a piece of art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that I can't think of like in the last year or two like a rallying cry kind of protesty song that kind of
It's interesting. You'd think these would have
came
been
to
the
the
years.
fore. You think
before-
that yeah, because of everything that's going
Yeah.
on.
But I
Videos
think there's
go
so
viral.
many
Sure.
though. I think there's so many, so there's not like one that stands out.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody has
Yeah.
access to the platform to produce. So I'm sure they're. Like,
Yes.
if
So I guess the question is if Tracy
Matter of
Chapman
finding
never
it.
put out her music, and if she put out the same music today, in light of the oversaturation with everybody being able to have access to making music, would it find its way to the top?
Exactly.
I'd like to think yes, because she's such a singular talent.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But
it's
I don't
like,
know, it's a fun- it's a
if
good
you look at like the
question.
folk music, if you look back into like say the '60s when Bob Dylan's coming up, everybody's writing a lot of those similar kind of songs, right? So like this album feels like it's almost like from that era almost. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? With the protest, and
Yeah.
like all these
very
cries
socially
for
conscious.
justice and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So, but I think. What are we like 50 years later? You can look back and be like, oh, there was a few standout
Yeah.
artists from that time, right? So, definitely like the singing ability and the musicianship and all that goes in, but I think like the powerful songwriting and all of that stuff can just cut through and still be as relevant today, I think, as it was, 32 years ago.
Yeah.
The other thing too, though, is that like she wasn't looking for fame, and she didn't really like it or want it, and so I don't know if someone like that could really rise up in the same way nowadays, because so many people are looking for fame to sort of cut through all of that and become that popular when you're not trying to in this like culture and climate we're in.
Yeah. Can you think of anyone in the last like half a dozen years who follows a similar profile?
There's
that, like a reluctant voice of a generation, or the reluctant voice of a swath of people or something.
There's definitely groups that I listen to, like the songwriting here and the content and all this stuff. It reminds me of a punk rock record with protest songs and all this. So obviously musically it's very different, but if you read the lyrics, that could be a Bad Religion song, or that could be, you know what I mean, Anti-Flag or anything like that. You know what I mean? There is a lot of those bands are kind of aging now, and the lead singers from those groups are now wearing flannels and playing like acoustic songs and taking their punk rock, rally battle cries or whatever kind of to an acoustic stage and writing their own songs and doing that. So I would definitely check out like a guy like Tim Barry, who's writing these really powerful, heartfelt songs and doing it all out of West Virginia, and it's no big, he has his
Virginia.
Absolutely, take me home, baby. Yeah. So that can happen, and I think to your point there, I don't know if Tim Barry's actively, staying away from the mainstream, or if they just don't want him in it, but I think he's done so much with his band Avail over, a 20-year career and stuff, that he's kind of cemented himself there, and, I support, and he's, I think he has the support that he needs. So I don't know if he was to write the next, big protest song or whatever, if it would just fall on deaf ears, because, I'd definitely share it around, but would it rise to that level of, something like a Fast Car or something like that?
Yeah.
Fuck, I love that song, Fast Car.
It's incredible.
So
It's one of my favorite songs.
When the first time hearing it was because I grew up also listening to hip hop, so nice and smooth. Sometimes I'm slow, sometimes quick. As soon as you hear that do, hell yeah.
Yeah. I go. It's one of my go-to karaoke songs, but I usually wait until the end of the night.
Oh yeah.
If I showed up at a karaoke bar with you at 8 and you put this on, I would lose my shit.
It's a bit of can be a bit of a downer. Although the song has like
it does
has like a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of hope in the end, depending on how you interpret it. I was listening to it a lot yesterday, and at the end, does she tell her partner to like take his fast car and fuck off?
I think so.
That's what it kind of feels like, right?
Well, like at the beginning, like the fast car is like the way that I kind of interpret it is that fast car is like her ticket to get away, from her pops in the bottle and all that stuff, and then
it's like
and
a
then she realizes that she kind of created that same similar life where she's working and that guy's drinking and blah blah blah. So I do think
so the middle part is so
it's kind of
sad.
like a sad cycle.
The opening is kind of hopeful, and you learn there's a bit of exposition with her father, which is great, and you learn that like, home life is not ideal, and she was taking care of her dad, so that part's kind of sad, and then the middle part is kind of hopeful because they're in this new place and maybe they're gonna both get jobs, and turns out this guy just like he just plays video games and stuff. I don't know what he does, but he doesn't spend the late nights at the bar. A bit of a lowlight. He gets drinking, he becomes an alcoholic and stuff, which is sad in and of itself. But ultimately,
it's kind of that thing like when you run away, you
take your fast car and keep on driving.
Totally. Wasn't it kind of interesting too that like I think it's a really common thing for anybody that's damaged to really be looking for something better, but ultimately not be able to see that you're falling into the same trap that you're running away from, which is like heartbreaking.
And the other cool thing about the whole falling into the same trap, even musically, the song like expresses that, because the same little riff just keeps coming over and over and over and over and over. The loop is just like repetitive and like. And it speaks to the theme of the song, right? It's just so cool. Like it works on so many different levels. Fucking great song.
When this
great
entire
road tripping song too.
Oh my god,
in the car.
Yeah.
You're just like cruising. Weather's nice. Windows are down. Pump that tune.
And it's one of those things. Like if you've ever been through the shit, like that was the entire record front to back is one of those things. I was at my brother's house last night. We were eating we had some dinner, a couple drinks and stuff like that. So when I was doing the research to, for this episode, and I put that record on, I'm thinking like, shit, this is probably not the right time to listen to this album. Doesn't matter. I listen to it, in the morning in the, kind of getting my stuff together, and in the middle of the night too, because like you could put yourself into those positions if you felt like, any bit of pain or something like that. There's something about this thing.
Yeah, well, she has the kind of voice that will just make a room shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, wherever situation, however, whatever vibe the setting might be, if Tracy Chapman picks up a microphone, you shut the fuck up and you just let her sing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's impossible not to get into it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be so lucky.
Yeah.
Tracy is singing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like smack, like, like.
Totally.
Just like
And she's still alive too. I think she's like 65 or
yeah,
70.
she's
Yeah,
kicking
she's still
around.
kicking. Yeah.
And I think I was reading the last music she put out was like in 2008 or something.
cool.
Okay.
But I never really. She had one big hit after this album. We were playing that the other day. What
One
was
of
that
the
called?
best songs.
Give me one
Give me
reason.
one
Give me one
to
reason.
stay here. Oh,
Yeah. Huge hit. But I think her debut album is by far and away the most popular. And even for me, outside of that one single, it's the only music that I really know.
Yeah,
and
fair
have
enough.
sought out of hers.
Well, it's kind of interesting when when an album grips you like that, then it can stand alone. Sometimes like you feel the need to go back, and I need every release this person has ever put out, and you really dive down the rabbit hole. But if it's good as it is, that's just your little slice that you can that you can take in.
Yeah.
I gotta with the entire album being so steeped in like political, social issues and everything, and I think that's one of the
a little bit of there's a heartbreak theme in there.
Oh, absolutely, right. And by the end, like it's that kind of real world stuff that everybody can, or, the real things you can really relate to. I think that make it, still such a great record to this day. Do you like in the art that you make? Do you think it's important to highlight, some of those low points in life to keep things moving? Because you're kind of all over the board. You do like comedy, and the stuff that I've read that you're writing right now is a little bit heavier. So
yeah, I am all over the board. I like to say that I make films about human beings doing human being things.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's really silly, goofy comedy. Sometimes that's really deep and heavy drama. Oftentimes it's kind of in between. Like dramedy is like one of my favorite genres. Yeah. So the gray areas of life are like the areas that that inspire me the most. So I dabble in the gray areas, and so it's things are sometimes sad and hopeful and tragic and exciting. Like, I want to touch on as many emotions as I can, because I'm a bit of a softie, kind of romantic, kind of empath. So that shit gets to me.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool too. And then if your art is capturing an image and telling a story, you guys
Should we hold hands?
you fucking guys can. I'm not as sentimental as the two of you.
Yeah, I'm really sentimental.
Yeah, I do all my
Yeah,
crying alone,
same,
bitch.
same.
Oh, I enjoy it, dude. It's kind of maybe
Oh.
this is like TMI, but whatever. Like, I kind of enjoy crying sometimes.
It's a good
Yeah,
release.
absolutely.
Like,
Good.
I do it
catharsis,
once a day
like-
at least.
Okay, should we? Yeah. That's kind of sad, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I was.
Welcome to Jack.
Yeah, I go down the rabbit hole sometimes, and like that catharsis like is kind of addictive for me, and I need to feel feelings. Like feeling feelings reminds me that I'm alive, and
Yeah.
especially if I'm like things aren't necessarily going well on like the personal side, or if I'm like depressed for whatever odd reason or whatever. I don't know, like.
You just like break down and have
depression
a good cry
for
just
me,
to like, is it the release? Or?
Well, yeah, because depression for me is like a numbness, is a difficulty to get too high or too low. Actually, it's just like a middle road, and if just like nothing gets you going. So sometimes, ironically, crying will help my depression. Like seeking out like emotional catharsis will make me feel, although I'm crying, it's making me feel better. It's this weird thing.
Well, it's like you're literally like getting something out of you. Like it's a literal release. You're like, look at my sadness.
But
So-
it's there. I think it's essential to get to the next thing, because if you're gonna bottle that up and keep that with you without blowing off the steam, like I don't know. You have the Garden State moment where they scream into the fucking abyss or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'll kind of, that's my thing of release. But like with the crying, it's just masculinity and all that shit is just beaten into you. So like I have to sit there when I get that emotional moment. It's either like watching like a really great live performance, or for whatever fucking reason, the Avengers Endgame, 3 times.
Oh, love it.
3 times, bro. It's when Scarlett Johansson dies, fucking tears, waterworks. When Spider-Man is trying to
Soul Stone is
right?
such a fucking bitch.
Oh man, when Spider-Man's trying to get the fucking gauntlet to Ant-Man, and it takes all of the Avengers to work together to get that thing there. You know what I mean? There,
Dude,
and then Tony's at the end. And
when Spider-Man is talking to Tony at the end, Mr. Stark.
Come on!
Oh my god!
Right? And so I don't know what it is, but like for whatever reason, that's
do you not give a fuck about?
I don't even know if she's seen the movie. But for whatever reason, like that has to be a conscious moment for me to be watching it, recognize the feeling inside, and then I have to give myself permission to turn the works on. You know what I mean? Like it's such a, I could never have like a, moment.
I feel like crying is like a really like natural emotion, but it's so suppressed so much in our culture that it does have like a stigma around it.
Yeah.
Like when I say I cry every day, it's not always like sadness too.
Yeah.
Like it's like it can be like a happy release, or like you're touched in some way.
Yeah.
But there's just so much stigma where it's like the majority of men will actively suppress crying, and they have for so long that it just doesn't come as easily. Where it's like I could be in the middle of a conversation and it'll like take a turn, and all of a sudden I'm just like bawling like in a restaurant.
That's great. It's funny. I've never I don't know, even from a young age, I wasn't really afraid to lean into like my feminine side. I was, call it confidence, or I don't know what, like I was a jock. Like I went out for all the sports. I played hockey. I played soccer. I played all the sports. I hung out with all the jocks. They knew that I was like into drama and like, all this shit.
Was there
like,
a stigma on that in your high school? Because like mine, it was definitely like you're either the art school kid or you're hanging out like behind
maybe
the
there
library.
was, but like I walked the line. Like I did both.
Yeah.
And if like one of the jock guys would like make fun of me about like my like drama or whatever, I would just make fun of them back.
Yeah, you're gonna be a fucking garbage man.
Or I would like punch him in the dick, like, because I was a fighter too. Like I wasn't afraid to fight. Like, growing up with like an older brother, like I was very used to getting punched in the face. Like so, like conflict didn't like scare me, or I guess, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, like if like one of the jocks made a comment like calling me a sissy or whatever, because I did, I'd be like, okay, well, like throw down, bitch.
Yeah, let's see what's up.
So like I could, yeah, it didn't really stick with the whole kind of like.
Well, that's good. You didn't get caught up in the bullshit. You know
yeah,
what I
mean? I didn't honestly.
I think it's healthy too, because when you like suppress your emotions, you're actively like turning away from like part of the human experience.
Totally, yeah, you're missing out on so much.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are talking to me. Fuck you,
up.
man.
Johnny,
this is an intervention.
I'll deal with my shit the way I deal with my shit, people. Okay. Fuck.
Right, fine. But
one more drink, baby.
So
one
I
more
go down
drink.
these rabbit holes sometimes where I'll just like go on YouTube and I'll just like listen to sad songs over and over again, and just like just like waterfalls, and I'll just like and at the end of it I'll be like, I'll just go to sleep or whatever. Like,
Y'all are a bunch of pussies.
Yeah. Hey, bro, you want to throw down? I'll show you who's a pussy, bitch.
Probably whoop my ass too. I don't know. I think that's the comedic thing or whatever. It's I just sent you like a headline. I haven't read the article, but there's this thing basically saying that people that have like brain damage in the right side of the right hemisphere of their brain have a mental some kind of disability, basically, where they can't feel emotions or process emotions the same way. So it has to be a joke. And I sent the headline to Jack yesterday. I'm like, oh, we're fucked. She's multiple concussions, right? And whatever brain damage I have, I'm sure I've taken a hit too or whatever. But I'm, every time before I feel sad, I was at my grandfather's funeral. And that is the greatest man that ever lived. Raised me from a pup, you know what I mean? My nono was just black head of Italian hair until the date, I'm sure died a couple times, but in my memory, you know what I mean? Just the coolest guy. And we're sitting there and it's a heavy, somber moment. And I'm like, I can't, feel the way the rest of everybody's, the way that everybody else is feeling. So I sit there and I'm having a cigarette with my brother out back, and I'm like, hey, what are you going to do today? We sprinkled some dirt on the grave of a great man. And while we were at the cemetery, threw some on Nono's grave too. Fun joke, right? But that's the thing. And he just looks at me and he's like, don't
Yeah.
you fucking go in there and say that joke right now.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't, so I couldn't help it, so I did. And my Nana's sitting there, and I mean, she's
You're the type of guy who makes a joke at a funeral. Don't understand what you mean. You soon will.
Exactly. I have a history of taking off my shirt too. And and it was just that moment that like I think that's the way like different people in your family will react to different things. So my brother is sitting there and he just doesn't want that joke to bomb on the very sad day. And my grandmother just has her head down and looks at me like, what? And it did break a little bit of tension. I mean, granted, not the best joke, but it was one of those things that like you got to, or just I have to, I think, right? Rather than just letting myself get there, because obviously at the, at the cemetery in that moment, when I'm seeing Tony Stark getting washed down the river, then I will cry a little bit. But afterwards,
it's better to let it out.
I'm cracking jokes.
Because if you just said the joke in your head and you just started laughing to yourself,
I would look like a
that would look way
asshole.
worse. Yeah. Than if you just say the joke and then laugh. Because imagine you're just like at a funeral and then you just start laughing.
My brother knows that because
like,
I'll get
"What
that.
the
I'll do
hell?"
like a little, and he's like, not now. Fucking not now.
Listen, I have the same sort of compulsion too, but I like.
Well, you guys are comedians.
Yeah, and looking
in
at
your
it now,
DNA.
I realize that it's always like when I'm around other people. Like when I'm alone, I'm totally comfortable to feel my emotions. But when I'm around other people, I always like look to make a joke out of it to sort of mask what I'm actually feeling.
Yeah. This topic comes up in my writing and my filmmaking sometimes. I was making a project some years ago, and one of the notes, you send out different cuts for notes and stuff, and one of the notes that I got from one of our executive producers was sometimes in these like dramatic scenes, one of the characters would like crack a joke to kind of break the tension, and it's not always actually the best move because you sometimes want to lean into like the drama. Depending on like I guess the scene and the flow and the pacing and whatever like message you want to convey. So there's a few moments where I removed jokes in the editing room just because it's a serious moment and it needs contemplation and it needs like to be.
That's why I could never be an editor. I would never take out a joke ever.
Well, but I mean, that's probably why a lot of our stuff we're not gonna. I mean, if you definitely read a lot of our scripts, that I think if you let that moment breathe. You know what I mean? Then it's obviously it's going to do so much more for the story, so much more for the audience to feel that.
Going for the joke, I guess.
I mean,
the lesson is going for the joke isn't always the best course of action. And
well, it depends on what
I guess an editor helps with that.
Well, what are you trying to get? What are you trying to get through with that scene? Right? Is that scene there, to be heavy, or is it there to get the joke across? Right? And I think that's, me and Jackie say both.
So we were talking about Fast Car before. Yeah. And this is obviously probably the biggest hit, not only from the album, but from Tracy Chapman.
Her biggest hit.
In general. By far, and, it's this really sort of lovely, beautifully told story. Sort of using the car as a symbol for freedom and escape. And, cars are great. You can escape from things, but with great reward also comes with a great risk. And if you're driving a fast car, you can fuck it up pretty easily. You can also fuck up your car if you're driving slowly with measured movements.
Are we gonna talk about how I fucked up my car the other day?
I just thought it'd be fun if we all just shared a story about fucking up cars. We all do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
For a little context for the listener, Mazi's you're my roommate. We live here together. You came in the other night after.
Quite upset.
Yes. Yeah. You have a classic car. Break it down.
Yeah, I scratched up my fucking car. I'm still pissed. I drive this like I shouldn't even be dailying this car, but because of ICBC and weird, stupid British Columbia insurance shit, I'm waiting to register my other car so I can get that on the road. In the meantime, I'm driving this classic car that's like this sweet, super preserved, really nice, beautiful paint job, like beautiful classic car, and I'm driving that fucking thing around, and I shouldn't be driving it because it's old and it needs to park, but I am. And I was pulling into the parking spot in the underground parking the other day, and it was a little tight, and I was trying to. I had a bunch of groceries in my passenger seat, so I was trying to give myself as much room on the right side, so I can open the door nice and wide, so I can get all the groceries out. So I was favoring the left side, and there's a big fucking cement pillar. So I was like kind of like pulling, and like I literally fucking stopped, and I like measured. I'm like, aren't I think I'll be all right. And I started inching forward, and all you hear is.
I love that you stopped to gauge it, and you're like, no, I got this.
Yeah, it's not like you can't call that an accident. You call it just a fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a cool, calculated fuck up. And Jackie, what an asshole.
But
So I recalibrated. I parked the car. I got out, and I looked on the rear wheel well on the driver's side, and it's scratched to fuck, and the paint's chipped, and it's all fucked up. Now I gotta call a body shop. I gotta go to Port Moody to get a quote, and it's probably gonna be fucking $2,000 or some shit to fucking fix it properly, and I'm pissed about it. Thanks a lot, Jackie.
Well,
for bringing that up.
since you
Salt. I'm
shared
gonna
your
be pissed
story,
for the whole rest of this fucking interview.
I'll share a story too.
Yeah,
Since I
your
just
fast
made you
car.
do that. Yeah, I drive a 96 Honda Civic, so the damage really it doesn't mean anything to me.
Depending on the model, there's some like Honda
Hey.
Civic SIs. If you get like the sunroof,
Like when you're saying define
you get
classic
the-
car, this is not a
it's
classic
not
car.
a
coupe
classic
with the
car.
sunroof and like the nice wheels, like
Yeah,
Honda Civic can
I
be
got
nice.
it off on the island. There's this lovely roadside used car lot called Good Used Cars. So that's where this,
Oh, it's a
this
clever
baby's
name,
coming
yeah.
from. Yeah. And this is probably a couple years ago now, maybe a year and a half ago. And I had parked this car in a parking lot downtown. And long story short, Jonny and I went to leave and get
I like how
in
you
the-
yada through
yeah,
the
we don't need to talk about what. But I go to back out of the spot, and I had just bought this car, and I was just starting to drive in Vancouver, because before moving here, I really just like drove on the island, which is much different than driving in a city. So still sort of getting used to it, but I don't know. I just fucking rolled out of this spot without checking any of my surroundings.
So she basically did what the opposite of what you did. So when you have a cement pillar here and you turned into the parking spot and scratched up the back panel of the car, what Jackie decided to do was go backing out of the stall, and her front panel is scraping up against the thing. And I'm like, well, maybe. And she's goes,
She started turning too
no,
early.
and no, she fucking hit it, looked at it, went,
and
and
then
then
going.
pounded on the- It was the craziest
You
shit.
were there?
I was sitting in the passenger seat. It was my side of the car. I'm like,
When you start hearing like crunching noises, like
I just powered through.
it was that moment where I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, I said everything that I could say in that split second of, and the damage was already done.
It's like, shh.
so did the bumper fall off or something?
Well, so then we drove, we were driving back to my place, and I stopped at a liquor store, and I get out of the car, and as I go into the store, and when I come out, I look at the front bumper, and the whole, like, passenger side of it is just hanging
Can I
off.
just stop for 1 second? You didn't look at the damage until after you went to the store and came back?
I was scared
When
to
you're
look.
driving out of,
Scared to look.
yeah, we're downtown. It's
Like,
like,
I knew
it's like
it
let's
wasn't
get the fuck
good.
out of here.
I knew it wasn't good. You could see people
Yeah,
on
I
the
was scared to
sidewalk
look, too,
looking
on
at
that
it.
night,
And so the whole fucking half of the bumper is hanging off. And so,
yeah. Is it still hanging off?
well, it's taped on.
Little tuck tape, you know?
Yeah, a little tuck tape. But it's been that way for about a year and a half. It's
And it's holding
very
strong?
noticeable damage.
What
I
is the
mean,
tape
it's
holding?
holding. I don't know, strong. And like part of one of the screws of the license plate at the front came off, so the license plate just hangs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You mean I couldn't live with that? Like I have to get this shit fixed.
I mean,
Like,
it doesn't
gotta
feel
get it
good, especially because since that happened, I've had two jobs in film where I have to like roll onto set, and so all the PAs and everyone fucking see me driving onto set with this fucking car.
Maybe get some pity points or something. Maybe you can negotiate a raise.
I'm like, hey,
think so.
clearly
Hey,
you gotta
yeah.
pay me more.
Absolutely. You know how expensive it is to live in the city alone? Never mind fix your car after you.
Yeah. And it drives.
Yeah, it does. I think that's good. See, I don't have that. Like, I have a lot of stories of my friends fucking up my cars, or like, I always just would buy beaters, right? Maybe $600-700. I think the first car that I ever paid for with my girlfriend at the time when I was in high school was like 12 beers. And I drank one of the beers with the guys. So he's called me an asshole, and it was like 11 beers for the exchange, right? So no car ever really.
That is a pretty dick move. Here's a 12-pack for this car.
Well, we're talking,
You just crack one.
he's showing us the
while
car.
you're chatting.
Yeah, we're doing the thing. He's showing us the car, and I'm having a beer. He's having a beer. I'll have a beer, right, with the guy. And then he mentioned it afterwards, like, so it's 11 beer, huh?
Did he offer you the beer, or you just like helped yourself?
I was 16 at the time. This this is about
how
15
this
years
all
ago,
went
so I can't remember exactly. But I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm probably just like, hey, we're familiar enough. I'm just gonna grab one of
You
these
don't
things.
wait for permission.
Yeah,
That's
no.
not in your
That's
character.
Yeah, because if you ask them, they'll say
Dude,
no.
that's
It's
the
easier to
perfect-
ask for
Russell Peters
forgiveness.
has that like stand up about how like white boys are just like offer beers to everybody. Hey man, I'm not cheap. Have a beer. Have a beer. Have a beer. Like, this fits into that thing
Yeah,
so
totally.
perfect. You trade beers for everything.
Absolutely. And then we would.
So Johnny's just take a beer, take a beer, take a beer.
Exactly. I am cheap, but I have no problem with it. But so in that, like, I would say I'd come down to Vancouver for Christmas or something, and my friends would all be partying at my girlfriend's house. Her parents kind of had like a, just a community place. It's safer to party here than it is out there, kind of thing. So they're really cool about that. And then I'd get like a phone call being like, man, so and so took your girlfriend's car and crashed it into the neighbor's garage, and this is like a whole thing. And I'm like, I'm not fucking there. Like, this isn't my problem. So I would normally come home to more issues. And then later, like, in the interest of public safety, I'm not even allowed to drive. So, yeah, no, that's.
I don't know about that. But so you've never really had to deal with the fucking panic of like a vehicle that you own getting like
Oh man.
Well,
smashed up.
I
or,
did
like,
one
fucked
that
up.
I'm not going to tell that story.
Yeah, I have a couple stories I'm not telling either.
Yeah, there's one that might not paint me in the best light.
But was that your car?
No, it was my
Someone
girlfriend.
else's car.
It was an ex's vehicle, and I was going to pick her up at the airport, and it was a.
Yeah, you don't have to get into it. I was just
Yeah.
curious if
It was
your
a
car
situation.
or someone else's
It was
car?
somebody else's car, and it was a situation
okay.
where I didn't have a license, and I was already kind of like in the shit, so it was easier to get the fuck out of there, and life moved on. So, shit, it's a fender bender. I didn't hit a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, I scratched the guy's car. Fuck,
You
give me a
haven't
break.
said
No one's been
anything
hurt.
Yeah.
criminal yet, so
I'm okay.
I think you're okay.
Statute of limitations on a hit and run is. Never mind.
Not sure, actually. Okay, yeah. So yeah, car. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, it's a definitely a segue I didn't see coming.
Yeah,
But it makes perfect sense.
It was just a way to dump salt in the wound that like you were here to see. That's kind of it's a dick move, but it was fun to watch it squirm through.
And then I bought pizza for everybody.
That's true. Yeah, how many times does somebody
I
like?
feel like that's I was thinking on the, I feel like that's like a good habit to get into. It's just good karma. Like if something bad happens to you, like just go out of your way to like do something good for someone else, just to try to.
You're gonna
try
say like pay
to
it
balance
forward.
it
find
out.
a way to balance it out
Yeah.
in a way.
I can see that.
So I'm hoping that like me treating you guys to pizza somehow is the universe will like,
Fix your car magically.
if not that, something else.
I think if you're putting good energy in there, then good stuff will come back to you, regardless of, the little slip ups and accidents and stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a big believer in like energy and karma. And,
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
good and,
I agree.
Yeah,
for the sake of doing good, but also karma.
well, the sun's coming out tomorrow, regardless. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. We live in Vancouver, so but
No, probably not.
it might. But
Yeah.
in the sense of the metaphor, I think we're all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I have gotten much better over the years of like letting shit slide that I might have dwelled on for a long time.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it was still rough in like the moment on the day, but if this was me like 10 years ago, I would have gone down like a week-long spiral of depression or something.
yeah.
Over,
You
over
tried to,
scratching up
but
my
we
car.
have the third roommate in the house is a pillar of positivity, and he
Yeah.
wasn't going to let you boo-hoo for 5 seconds
Yeah,
about
that's
this shit.
true. He kept reminding me of like all the good stuff happening in my life.
Well, Jackie even said it too. It's like, dude, you have a great job. You have a dope apartment. Like at the end of the day.
Contrary to what it may seem now, I was very supportive in the moment.
Yeah, you were, but like annoyingly supportive. but like still very supportive. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was giving you a hard time.
Yeah. Well, like I don't. It's hard too because like when you go through the shit, I've been in that same situation 100 times where it's like, fuck off, just let me fucking be mad right now.
Yeah. I think I said that.
Yeah. I just want to be pissed off. But I mean, that's what friendship's for. Like, fuck you. Like, either you could be mad and we're gonna make fun of you, or you could get over the shit and we get a slice.
Yeah.
I think ultimately
Let's get a slice.
Yeah.
It's such a good solution to so many problems.
At the end of the
Let's get
day,
a slice, man. Don't worry about it. Let's get a slice.
Yeah, I need to eat more. I think I do. I mean, my diet isn't where it is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm 30 years old and I realize like I'm flying off the handle at work for stupid shit. And then I just have a bite to eat and I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you're hangry.
Yeah, you'd think that. I know
Anger
this.
is a
Well, like we
thing.
go to restaurants and
is.
stuff, and I'm an asshole until the food comes. Like, and I don't realize that I just haven't eaten it.
Like to the server?
Not
Don't
to
be
the
an asshole
server,
to the
not
server.
never to the server, but
Don't
just
be
like
that
just
It'll be
I mean
like-
just between the two of us,
Yeah,
like
that's
not just those under the breath, like just fucking seriously.
Well, if it like in situations where it's like the morning and we are hungry and it takes like fucking 20 minutes to get a table when no one else is there,
Yeah.
and then takes like 15 minutes for someone to bring us fucking water.
Looking at you,
And then-
Ricky's in Burnaby.
Yeah, and then takes us a half an hour after
Ricky's
we
over
finish.
here, right over
Yeah.
here.
Right here, dude. We
Oh
just
my
tried to
God, we
pay
had the-
too, and
we
then
had
they
the
fucking
worst
they made
It's
us.
hard to
experience
pay there. I was there.
Right? We had
I was
the
there the other day
worst
too. It's like,
experience there the other
do you guys
day.
want my money? Like,
We
I have to go.
We tried to walk. We had been waiting for so long, so we tried to walk up to the front and be like, "We want to pay right now." And she was like, "Just give me a minute. Give me a minute. Go back to your table. Give me a minute." And we were like, "I want to leave. Let me go."
Yeah.
We had a hard time paying there as well the other day.
Weird kind of hostage situation at a breakfast place. It was wild.
It's almost at that point, I don't feel bad. I don't consider it stealing. Like if I
Right?
leave.
I
Like,
tried.
I tried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Over and over, I tried to pay you.
Oh, that's fun. Have you ever been pissed off on service and walked out of a bill?
Have I ever dined and dashed? Fuck, I don't. I was in the service business from the time I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just that guilt.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't
Yeah,
get around
I've
it. No,
never
I don't
been-
think I
yeah.
have ever dined and dashed. I don't think I have. I've dined and dashed, not dined and dashed, but I ran off on a taxi. When I was like, yeah, I was a
That's
shit-
awesome.
And I was like a shit 17-year-old.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
didn't have money. We needed to go home. Didn't have
Yeah.
money.
Hey,
The bus wasn't running or something.
now
so
what are
we,
you gonna
like-
do?
Yeah, he stopped at like a stoplight, and we were gone. Poor guy.
I took a maybe
I'm ashamed actually. You know,
things
you have a lot of
happen.
shit you do when you're younger. You look
Hey.
back
I
on
know.
it, you're
And
like, I
at
was
the
a piece of
time, you're
shit.
like, "Oh, like I dined and dashed. I ran off on this taxi." And then you get older and you're like,
Like,
"I'm
ugh.
such a piece of shit."
Yeah.
I think that was someone's like tip.
Yeah.
Or
Oh
Get
yeah,
canceled
totally.
for-
Well, no, they're not gonna get
Admitting
canceled
this.
for it. There's been repercussions for it. When I'm in high school, I was partying this little area, and then a few friends kind of showed up, and one of my friends, Andrew, is beat the fuck up, and we're like, "Holy shit, man, what happened to you?" And they were at a Chinese restaurant ordering the most expensive shit on the menu, and then they dashed.
Damn.
And the kitchen staff caught just Andrew. So the two other guys that he was there with,
Make an example.
they were already at the party telling the story. Everything's cool. Like, where's Andrew? We don't know. And these old men like gave him a full Nelson and just worked his body like old school. Like,
God.
bro, like he didn't. Like his face was totally fine, but he just couldn't. Like he couldn't walk. Like it was the wildest shit. They just kicked this shit out of his body. I've never seen that
That's
before.
kind of smart.
That's
Maybe
pretty cool.
Maybe they wanted to avoid
Yeah,
getting charges. Or
whatever
something,
the
so they
case
just
is,
went
or-
after
Yeah.
his body.
Yeah, it was the coolest ass whooping that.
You know, coming up in the restaurant business, dining and dashing is a
Yeah.
really dick move. And
Yeah.
some places, I don't know if they do this anymore because like it's probably super illegal. But like for a while, you know, I'm sure like servers would end up having to pay the tab.
Yeah, whoever
Oh,
the server
fuck,
is has to
that's
cover the tab.
So that's
It's
not
fucked
cool.
up. Yeah, it's really fucked up.
Yeah, that's.
I know
not
there
cool.
was one time in Montreal, not me, but my little brother and his friends dined and dashed one night. They were out drinking, and then they went and got some poutine or whatever, and then they dined and dashed. And my little brother felt so bad that the next morning he went back and paid the tab.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I dined and dashed by accident actually here in Vancouver like a month ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah, speaking of, so I guess technically I have dined and dashed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just absent-minded. I went into this place, this Peruvian restaurant in Gastown, and it was delicious. I ate this food,
Yep.
and I was like stressed out. I had to go do something with my car, like shit going on. I was on my phone, whatever. So I just literally just ate my sandwich and just put on my coat and walked out. Like I just didn't even. I was just so absent-minded. Like I just left.
Yeah.
And I was so like Like they didn't even have a chance to like, hey you, like, because I was just like, just like casual.
Totally.
It was so casual, right? Because like I didn't know that I was stealing.
Yeah.
And then I went back the next day.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah, you know, you.
Well, I just realized I
went back the next day. I ate again. Before I sat down, I told him, I'm like, hey, I dined and dashed yesterday. I'm so sorry. Like, oh yeah. I'm like, well, if you don't mind, like, I'm gonna have another like plate of food. And then this time I'll pay for both. And I paid for both.
Did they make you pay up front?
You just left again.
No.
Hey guys, I'm just absent-minded. It's day 3, but I swear to God, I'm gonna pay.
Most confident dine and dasher ever.
Yeah,
like, I'm so sorry.
Then,
I completely
they charged
forgot.
me for both things, and I gave like a 25% tip or something.
That's all.
Oh, that's
like,
nice. Yeah.
I did a similar. There's a diner that I really like to go to. Like before, if we're gonna like do shows or whatever, I'll sit there and kind of go through sets and whatever. I love a diner. You know.
Yeah.
So the Fable Diner on Main and Broadway. I'm there, and you know I eat whatever. I think it's like a meatloaf or something like that on diners, drive-ins, and dives kind of thing or whatever. So you know, if Guy Fieri liked it, then I'm fucking with it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm eating this thing, and I'm talking to the waitress, and I'm having fun, and I exchanged numbers with the waitress before I left, right? Mm-hmm. And everything was so chill, right? Because you're not dining and dashing, right? I'm putting my jacket on, I'm walking out, you know what I mean? At kind of like a snail's pace. Thank you, see you later.
Yeah, zero intention to be
nefarious. I left, and I got on the bus, and I'm like way away, going in the other direction, and I get a text from the girl that and in my head I'm going like, shit, man, no, Jonny works fast, you know? But I'm like, oh, this is never gonna happen. Like I've just dined and dashed, and this girl's being like, hey, what the fuck, man? You didn't pay your bill. And it came to the point now where I was so far away, like heading somewhere else, that I'm like, it's 2020. Like we could figure this out electronically because if you think that I'm turning around right now to go back and pay a $20, diner meal, like you're fucking crazy, right? Mm-hmm. So give me your email and I will, send you the cash. And it became so weird. Then I got a text from like a different server who was like the night manager or something. And okay, so I'm going to do it to his. And then like a half an hour later, I'm waiting for the email. And then it was like the actual manager. So this was a huge fuck around that they had to deal with or whatever, just to get
so much bureaucracy.
Yeah, just to give me a fucking email and I'll send you. It's like this like
greasy spoon diner. You think like
exactly right? It's a $20 bill, and I sent him like $35 because I was mortified. I felt terrible or whatever. So you
gotta overdo it.
Yeah. But there's nothing when you realize that you've done something so stupid. You're just.
I've definitely at when we had a show one night downtown at the basement, I've definitely accidentally walked out on a tab there before, but we were there like every other night.
Yeah, so shout out to Human and like those guys take so much care of us. And
I came back.
I'll go back
the
in there
next
and they
day
don't
and
even care.
Like,
they're like,
I'm so sorry, I completely forgot. He's like, you're here every night.
We're gonna get it out of you. They're fun.
Cool when they're cool.
Yeah, they're great. I really hope that the Keto Cafe and like that whole staff or whatever is doing okay doing this whole thing. Cause
there's a Keto Cafe.
Keto.
Yeah, that's
I do keto sometimes. So
have you been in the basement to see us before? You come up Main Street to watch us.
No, I don't think you've come to a show in the basement before.
Yeah, Awesome Comedy. Susie from Awesome Comedy puts on these shows in this basement underneath this Keto Cafe on Pender and Richards or something.
Pender and Seymour.
I feel like I've walked by.
Yeah, Pender and Seymour. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's great. The cafe is just like this small little space, but then if you sort of go around the corner, there's stairs down to the basement. That's like it's the best place to do comedy in the city.
I love it. It's dark. It's a tiny little room.
It's awesome.
It's dark. Yeah, low ceiling.
Like a comedy club should be. It's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Damn, can't wait for that to open up again.
Oh, dude, me too, man. More restrictions and whatever, so we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen there. But I don't know. My dad just got a shot. You getting the vaccine?
I don't know. The thing. Okay, so here's my perspective. I'm not like afraid to get it because I don't think I'll grow an extra arm or like
3 dicks
microchipped or something. But I'd kind of rather not get it if I don't really need to get it because it's not COVID for like people like my age or whatever. From everything that I'm learning and reading, it's just like a really bad flu, right? Do I need a vaccine for a really bad flu?
But there
I don't
are
know.
like
I think it's the idea
cases,
of you passing it on potentially if you are
and
asymptomatic or something. I don't know.
There are cases of it being very serious for younger people, but I think the point of the vaccine is to help everyone else. So
I just want to perform,
anymore.
so you could shoot it and I'll forget my dicks.
I feel like I'm one of those like I'll wait for like other people to get it first, which they are.
Yeah.
And if people aren't dropping like flies, like, okay. Like, I don't know. I'm not that passionate about like, either way. Like, I'm not passionate on either side of it. So it's like, yeah, I'll probably, given the moment, not having it, like, inconveniences me in any way.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
Then I'll
That could be a thing too. Yeah.
If it's like a passport
You're, like,
situation,
not allowed
you
to
have to
travel
have it
and
to
stuff,
travel
like,
or whatever.
I've become like kind of hopeless in a way.
How?
Just do whatever you want. Just do what you want to me, man. Leave me alone. Just fucking stab me, whatever you want. Just leave me alone. Like, I don't know. It's probably not the right attitude.
Fuck that. I love it. I love that attitude.
Like, it's just true. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If Bill Gates is evil.
Do you even need that? Like, do you need to have? Yeah, but do you need to have an opinion on that? Right. That's another thing too. Is like everybody fucking has to have an opinion on it.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
I don't give a shit. Like if I'm not
so
involved,
agnostic, like to
can
my
I-
core. Like it's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. I don't believe you, and I don't believe you, and I don't know who the fuck to believe.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So show us some fucking evidence, or fuck off, AstraZeneca.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I lost some money on AstraZeneca.
Oh, we like
I don't
AstraZeneca.
know about
Okay,
that.
fuck you,
That's-
Johnson & Johnson.
that's
No,
the
AstraZeneca,
sketchy.
I lost money.
Yeah, that's a
Oh.
sketchy vaccine. I think Johnson and Johnson is the Cadillac of vaccines.
Well, it's a family
That's
company.
what I want.
Yeah, I guess so. If I
One
were-
shot, one and done.
Yeah, if I were
Sign
to
me up.
choose a vaccine, I'd want to go with the Cadillac, I guess.
Yeah.
Compared to
Wait, Cadillac's
Just
making
the-
a vaccine too?
Yeah.
How many?
This
How
car
many?
theme.
Yeah, the Cadillac vaccine.
I'm not a huge fan of like American, like domestic American cars. Like so, you know, I like the old Stangs and stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Like I'm more of like a Euro kind
My
of.
grandpa drove a Cadillac the whole time. The whole time that he was alive, when I knew him. It's a weird way to phrase it, but
Yeah.
it was like
You knew him when he was alive.
It'd be weird if you
the
didn't.
whole time I knew my grandpa. He drove a Cadillac, and it was
Okay.
white exterior, red interior.
That's sexy. That's
Yeah, man.
My buddy Jim had a baby blue, like a sky blue.
Hell yeah.
I forget the interior color, but it was pretty.
You
sweet.
got to go white with like the blue lining.
I
Oh
wonder
man.
if it was white or cream or something.
When I was a kid, I saw Snoop Dogg and he has a Snoop DeVille, and I just realized like me and Snoop are destined to be best friends at some point. And so when I see the Snoop
I
DeVille,
tend to agree.
yeah, right. So when I see the Snoop DeVille, I just picture this scene in my head of like Snoop DeVille at a red light, and then Johnny's green Cadillac Coupe de Vito rolls up next to him, and he's like, "Is that a Coupe de Vito?" And I'm like, "Is that a Snoop DeVille?" And he's like, "What's up, Johnny?" I'm like, "What's up, Snoop?" And then we're best friends forever. So like that's how it's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Awesome. You
I can see
visualize
that
this
happen.
I
very
visualize,
well.
yeah. So like anytime that like success is imminent, obviously, for
Oh,
the
yeah.
two of us, right? So as soon as I make any money, you're gonna see me blow it all on a fucking outrageous boat, just so that it says Cadillac Coupe de Vito on it,
Awesome,
and then I'll
man.
know that I
Without
made
a
it.
license.
I support this.
Yeah.
I might go around to getting my license back at that point. It's not that I can't get it back. It's just that like fuck them.
Well, you don't need a car.
I don't need it. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, I support that vision. Through and through.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
happy.
there to witness it or soon thereafter. Like.
Oh, we're
nearby.
gonna. Yeah, man.
Nice.
Well, like I don't know. Like this has been fun. We're kind of bullshitting around at the end here. Do you guys have any final thoughts
Any
on the
final
album?
thoughts on the
Well,
the
I
album?
just feel like Tracy Chapman has been. We kind of went on a left turn, didn't we?
Oh, we
On
absolutely
this-
did.
on
That's-
this car
Well,
theme,
we-
on this
Welcome to
driving
Show Me
theme.
Yours with
That's why
Jackie and
we
Johnny.
circle back to Tracy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's kind of what we do here. We're not musicians, so like I mean, to talk about music from any kind of like point of like we're authorities on the matter is not at all, right? Like I think the idea is just to share music with friends, and then it opens up avenues that you can go down.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. Final thought. All I gotta say is Tracy Chapman was ahead of her time and is a visionary, and it's crazy to me how the stuff that she sang about is as relevant, if not more relevant today than ever.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy. Like you should, like anybody who listens to the lyrics, it's like stuff she says like it's like specifically relates to like shit going on right
It's
now.
so much.
Totally.
Anybody that's gonna go and listen to
Yeah.
this album, have the lyric sheet out and really dive into
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah,
great.
So,
Everyone should listen to the album. Tracy Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
We can't play the music.
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn
We're
YouTube
trying
got
to
us in the pinch
monetize
again.
this bitch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we sing it, or is that against?
Give me one reason to stay here. It's not on that album,
We'll
sorry.
cut-
That's
yeah.
the wrong album.
Just cut it
Wrong
off there.
album.
I
yeah.
love that fucking. I like how my voice. I could do the voice anyway.
I like "Baby Can I Hold You."
Really?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like I said, Behind the Walls, man. A song with no music at all and just heavy
Poetry.
goddamn lyrics. That's one of my
It
the
really
coolest
is
song
poetry, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's just most of her songs like there isn't necessarily a defined rhyming structure. Some lines rhyme, and I just rhymed.
Some lines rhyme.
But she's kind of just talking melodically most of the time.
Yeah.
But when you have a voice like hers, you can do that.
I would talk
definitely.
melodically all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Nice.
yeah. Who else talks melodically? Any other artist? I think
Well, I mean,
R.
like,
Kelly.
Yeah,
Remember
like
R. Kelly? Those 18 music videos about him hiding in the closet.
you know that in the closet.
Yeah.
If
Part
you
two.
listen to those lyrics,
Part
it's just
5.
him like telling a story.
Oh,
There
yeah.
isn't really a rhyming structure. He's just talking melodically.
Have you
basically,
seen
the whole time.
that's a season 9 episode of South Park they go in on Scientology, but so Tom Cruise and R. Kelly are trapped in the
I feel
closet.
like I might
And then
have
I pull
seen
out my
this
gun.
Yeah,
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Alright,
where can the people find you, man?
Find me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go to my website if you want to see some of my work. Verbalpictures.com. We make pictures that speak.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for coming on. Thanks so much for coming
you
on.
go
Yeah,
to
thank you so
Subscribe.
much for being our first official guest.
Sorry, Kevin Von Helvig. We love you. Your episode is coming.
Yeah,
You were there.
yeah,
You
I
were
was
there.
there for that. I'm like, how am I? I'm not your first.
Yeah.
But
The first one that's going to actually be put out there.
Yeah, it's a new format and
Yeah,
stuff like that. You're
yeah.
definitely going to get the Kevin episode because it is great, but it's
The
it'd
Kevin
be
episode
hardcore.
will be behind a paywall.
Is it?
Yeah, didn't we just...
Behind a paywall,
Behind a
motherfucker.
paywall, the
Pay up.
Patreon.
Yes.
okay. So my shit's not worthy to be paid for.
Well, I mean...
You really fucked that up,
Thank
Dig
you so much
yourself
for
out of this
joining
one.
us.
You just
Will
dangle
you
me
come
as
back?
like I'm like the chum in the water. Like
Thank you so much for being our guinea pig.
Oh my god.
all right.
All the episodes are
Okay.
free. Nobody's paying
I'll
us
be
for
the
shit.
chum in the water. That chum. Remember the chum in Jaws?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Try
that's-
chumming this shit. Remember that one? Try chumming this shit for a living. Fucking Jaws just comes like that.
Oh man. And on that note,
Yeah.
let's get the fuck out of here.
All right.